What's up YouTube? Jeff back again here from High on Android, dopetechdaily.com, and today we're going to get into my full review of the Huawei watch. Now, I did the full review of the Moto 360 and the Gear S2, and a lot of people have been asking me, where is the full review on the Huawei watch? Well, I had so many wearable devices that obviously I wanted to give each of them a reasonable amount of time, to make sure that I actually gave each one a fair shake on the battery life, usability, etc. So, of course, that's exactly why it took me a while to get out all three of the reviews. But today we're going to go ahead and do this one. Before I get into the full review of the Huawei watch, though, I want to answer another question about a wearable. A lot of people were asking me, did I return my LG Watch Urbane 2nd Edition LTE? Now, you guys saw me unbox that watch and do that whole Q&A session, and the answer is yes. I did return that watch because LG confirmed they're not going to support software updates, and with the display component that was actually supposed to go bad in the long run, I didn't want to end up with a bum display and also never get software updates. So as much as I like the LTE connectivity, I sent that watch back to AT&T. They actually offered me a $100 bill credit in addition to crediting all of my charges for the watch, $100 bill credit for the inconvenience. So I already have a Gear S2. They offered people to exchange it for that, but I don't want that. So I just got rid of the watch, and I'll wait for the next one. I'm sure there'll be another LTE-enabled Android Wear watch soon enough. So let's get into this watch today. I don't want to spend forever because, I didn't spend a long time on the Moto 360 review. There's just a couple things to cover with wearables. The first thing I want to talk about is the build quality. Now, obviously, if you look at this watch, in my opinion, this watch looks the most like an actual watch that you would wear, like a Tissot, a Tag, a Heuer, etc. This thing has great build quality. The band, this black stainless steel, is fantastic. I really love this particular band. It doesn't scratch easily either. So if you see here on the back, I've been wearing this watch quite a bit, and you can sort of see there are not very many, with the light hitting it, there are not very many scratches, maybe a few surface scratches, which you expect with any stainless steel watch. But overall, I think this thing is built really solid, and the band has not scratched easily. I've had no problems with that. In addition, the face on the watch, you've got these nice little grooves, little dials around here at the hour markers. This really looks like a watch that you would get from a Swiss watchmaker and not an Android Wear or smartwatch type of deal. I really love the build quality. I think Huawei did the best job of giving us a solidly built watch. So no complaints there. And in fact, I told you guys the Moto 360 2nd Gen when I did this video is my favorite overall watch, but the build quality on the Huawei watch is no doubt superior. I mean, the Moto 360 is nice, but the metal here on this particular watch, it just looks a little cheaper. The build looks a little cheaper. And of course, the watch overall, this one is a little bit cheaper for most models than the Huawei watch, especially the stainless steel one. Not by much. So I have to give Huawei the overall advantage when it comes to the build quality. The next thing to talk about, of course, is the lack of speaker support. So that's one thing I really don't like about the Huawei watch. You do not have a speaker support yet. Now, obviously, that can be said about the Moto 360 and any other watch. The good news about the Huawei watch, before everybody gets up in arms, we know there is a speaker inside this watch. We just need to have it enabled when Android Wear gets the Marshmallow update. So we know that right now there are no watches running Android Wear with Marshmallow because the LG Watch Urbane LTE was recalled, as I mentioned. But when that happens, there is a speaker inside this watch, and you should get speaker support with the Huawei watch. So that's actually a downside on the sense that it's not working right now. But when you compare it to something like the Moto 360, this one doesn't have a speaker inside. This one does. So when we do get Marshmallow on Android Wear, you're going to get that speaker support with the Huawei watch, whereas you would not have gotten that with the Moto 360. So that's a plus in the sense that it's there. It's a downside in the sense that it's not working right now. The next thing that I don't like about the Huawei watch, which is another thing that I can deduct points from it because comparing it to the Moto 360, let me see, I have it right here, is that the Huawei watch has this unfortunate proprietary charging cable. So you can see right here on the back of the Huawei watch, you've got these pins. In order to charge it, you got to drop it right here on the pins, and then it'll be charging up. So you can see here, if I get that into focus, you can see once you get it, you got to get it aligned just right. And then at the top, you'll see right there, at the top you can see it's got the little lightning bolt to let us know that it's charging up. You can see it better in the ambient mode. Now that's a little annoying because, of course, as you guys know, The Samsung Gear S2 and also the Moto 360 both have something like this. This is the one that goes to the Gear S2. They have a wireless charging cradle, which means, of course, not only can you charge it wirelessly with the cradle, but you could charge it wirelessly if you have any kind of portable wireless charger, like I have the Keystone Plus. You could also charge it with your Tilt View, etc. Now, you can't do that with the Huawei watch because everywhere you go, if you travel, you're going to have to bring this proprietary charging dock, and that's kind of annoying. So is that a deal breaker? Of course it's not a deal breaker, but it's something that a lot of these wearable devices have that this one doesn't. So it's something to point out, and it's one thing that I don't like about the Huawei watch. The next thing is the display. Now this thing has the best display of any watch that I've seen. In my opinion, I know the PPI is supposed to be higher on the Gear S2. This one just looks better, has better viewing angles, gets super bright on the highest brightness mode. And if you go in here, of course, you've also got the option, you can see right there, of doing brightness boost. And this thing gets really bright, gives you a nice crisp picture outside. Of course, every one of the wearable devices is not going to give you the best shots outside. You're not going to have the best viewing outside because it doesn't get bright enough, but this one gets the brightest that I've seen. So I give it big points for that. The PPI is super high. This is a crisp looking watch. On some of these watch faces, this is a third-party watch face, so it looks a little more, digital. But if you go to some of these watch faces, for instance, the blue one, which is my favorite one to illustrate this, if I can find it. I showed you guys this one before. This blue one right here, you can barely tell that this is actually a digital watch face. It's just such a crisp picture that it's hard to tell that you don't actually have some sort of Swiss watch with an actual mechanical movement. If the battery and the moon phase stuff wasn't there, it's really difficult to tell. So the screen quality on this is excellent, definitely the best I've seen, and of course it's higher resolution than my Moto 360 because mine's the 46mm. The next thing is the battery life. Now obviously battery life is a big deal when it comes to wearables because most of them don't last that long. The Moto 360 I got through a full day easily and never really had to worry, even when I stayed out super late. On this one, it's been a little bit different story. I've had it paired up to my Nexus 6P, just for reference, and I've gotten maybe 16 to 18 hours comfortably. On days where I've stayed out later, if I went to a movie, went to the bar, whatever I'm going to do, this thing would sometimes be really close to dying, so you have to kind of worry about it a little more than the Moto 360. The battery life is still good. I would say it's on par with the Gear S2, but not quite as good as the Moto 360 or the original Gear S. I think you can comfortably get a day out of this if you're just going to wear it to work. If you can sit it on a wireless charger while you're at work, no problem. But sometimes going longer than 18 hours, if you're going to go out, and stay out till 3 a.m. in the morning, you've been wearing the watch since 6 a.m., you might have to charge this up. So that's kind of annoying. Battery life is good though. It's much better than the first gen watches still, so I can't complain. The final thing I want to mention about the Huawei watch, which is perhaps my biggest complaint, is that the vibration motor in this watch is incredibly weak. Now, if you're wearing this watch on your wrist and you get a notification, you're going to have a hard time sometimes realizing that something actually came in. So here I can show you guys, this is what it looks like on wrist, as you can see. If you're wearing this guy on your wrist and you get a notification, the vibration motor is so incredibly weak that sometimes I miss notifications when I'm wearing the Huawei watch. Now that never happens with the Moto 360 2nd Gen. I've never missed any notifications when I've had this watch on. But whenever I'm wearing the Huawei watch, I'm constantly looking down at my wrist to see if I missed a notification, which is incredibly annoying, of course, because that's the whole point of having a smartwatch. So at the end of the day, if I'm going to miss some notifications, this can't be my main smartwatch because otherwise it's not serving its purpose correctly. So at the end of the day, that's why the Moto 360 2nd Gen is my favorite watch over the Huawei watch. The vibration motor in here is super weak, and also the battery life is better on the Moto 360. So even though this has a better build quality and also has a better overall look and feel, the screen is better, but if it doesn't get me through a full day, and if it doesn't have a vibration motor that's going to be strong enough for me to feel my notifications coming in, that's a huge problem. So obviously that could possibly be fixed later, and then maybe I'll have to revisit that, but those are my current thoughts on the Huawei watch. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my full review of the Huawei watch. If you have a question about this watch or any other watches in my collection, drop a comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you guys. Also, you can follow me on Google Plus and Twitter at the links in the description. Check out my writings over at news.highandandroid.com and dopetechdaily.com. If you guys enjoyed the content, give me a big thumbs up as it really helps out the channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.